Hey guys, I am DM Zone. This is Gamers Oasis. We're going to do something a little bit different this time. Okay guys, so as you can see, I am, well, you can't see yet, but you will in just one second. I'm playing Entropia Universe in the Mayhem. I'm going to just show near the end of it all, what it's been like so far, and talk about a video I watched a couple times just to kind of get an idea of what they're trying to say. It is a long interview or discussion, I guess you could say, with an Arcadia dev and I guess the CEO, president, or whatever is of Arcadia, and with people who play the game. So let me go ahead and switch so you can see me play Entropia Universe without me actually sitting here, shall we say. You get the idea. Okay, guys, so this is going to be a little bit more free form, as I'm literally going to be playing the game as I talk to you, and I've got a whole stack of notes that I'm going to be thumbing through and talking about, and it's going to kind of direct some of the content I do moving forward, but not all of it. I have a lot of stuff I want to do that's specifically for me, but let me go ahead and start with what they talked about. So if you do a YouTube search for Arcadia dev and then put a few days ago, you'll see, or whatever, look a few days ago, you'll see that there was a post posted on there. Anyways, in that, it has the community manager for Arcadia talking, who's a developer, and he's talking about all sorts of things, like they finally got their court case done, so now they are able to actually work. There's 8 of them that work there. They have been on loan with other plants to try and continue keep them fresh and allow them to actually put some of their stuff out, because for the last 6-7 years they haven't been able to release any material due to the fact that they're in court, and they're anything that can be used against you will be used against you. So with that in mind, as they said, they chose not to do anything. And then after they won their case, apparently this guy went after Mindark. Mindark has since won their case, so now they're able to actually move forward with all their stuff. So they have 6 to 7 years worth of stuff that they slowly want to roll out, so you don't get information dump, so you don't get so much to do you can't get it done, or something gets missed. And there was a lot of Easter egg stuff in there, and I know today is Easter, so that's kind of a funny thing to say at this point in time. But I'm going to delve more into that in future videos when I do my vlog stuff and I try and theorize what they were meaning by certain things. One of the things they promised is that they're going to be redoing their Discord, and they're going to allow for more interaction between the devs and the community, and that they're going to try and do at least once a month have them just sit down and open forum talk with the community. I don't know if it'll be scheduled or if it'll be some random time. Like when the community project leader did it, it was like 3 o'clock his time in South Africa, which I don't know what that would be here. But essentially, that's when he did it. As he made the statement several times, he had to wake up in 4 hours to do a meeting and basically decide he wasn't going to go to sleep. But I don't know. People say all sorts of things. I'm sure there's a lot of truth to what he said. But let me get into this real quick. Okay, so some of the things that he focused on specifically was the blueprints on Arcadia sometimes lack purpose because items that are outside of their control no longer drop. So he was very clear that Arcadia creates an item, it does this thing, it has all these steps, all these processes, these has a recipe to make this item in like a blueprint situation, and then they present it to Mindark, and Mindark says, okay, we'll go ahead and have this drop from these areas, these things, and whatnot. And then if Mindark decides, nope, we're not doing that anymore, unless Arcadia goes back to them and tries to reposition this or redo this. And that's kind of my words, which they couldn't do in the last 6 to 7 years. then they would not be able to have those items because they don't have any control over these items. They can't tell you when they're going to drop. They can't tell you what they drop from. And they, as they say, don't have a HOF button, unfortunately. One of the things that he wants to do is he wants to go through all of the mining that you get from Arcadia, and he wants to give it purpose. He wants to give blueprints purpose. What he means by that, in my opinion, is that he wants items to be within the artifact tree, within the normal tree. But anything that's specific to Arcadia probably needs to be stuff you can only get on Arcadia. One of the unique things about Arcadia is the artifacts, and he kind of listed that specifically. Now, real quick, side jaunt here. I'm at 1353 out of 1400 points. When I get to 1400 points, I'm done. Now I may continue because we're talking. This is my 20th Easter Strongbox. If you've seen one of my prior videos talking about me giving away my Easter Strongbox, look for the 250 contestant or contest for more details on that, and you can enter that for sure. I suggest doing it, and yeah, go check that out. All right, so back to what I was talking about here. One of the things that he's had to do over the last several months is do spreadsheets on the different weapons and then compare Arcadia weapons to other planetary weapons. And he is not pleased with where Arcadia weapons fall in line. He feels like there are other planets that have far better weapons, and he wants to resolve that. It sickens him, would be, I think, the way you could word it, that they are not up to snuff. They are not up to par, that they're not as good as, or that they don't make him proud. Okay? That he wouldn't want to necessarily use them, I guess you could say. And there's lots of ways you could word this. But generally, that's what he's getting at. Man, I really wish the PED would just come a little quicker. I like to keep up with this, and my ammo supply is low. Okay. So, he stated that there are new areas that are still yet undiscovered on Arcadia planet from the time they were put on there, whether it was at the very beginning the planet was developed or since then, that they have not been found yet, and it has blown their mind. He says the same thing about Arcadia Underground, and I'll get to the moon in a second. But one of the things he said is that it blew them away that it took 5 years for people to find the smuggler chain, that they had no idea it even existed for 5 years before it was finally found. So, as far as the moon, there's plans for more, and there are things that have currently been recently released on the moon that no one has found yet. So I'm going to be doing my due diligence to go look for these things because I think that would be really cool. And if you've been watching any of my Where in the Entropia, I have been all over the moon. So I have to kind of go reference what I have found based upon what other people say is there to kind of know whether or not maybe I've already found something that is new and I don't know it. So I'm going to be doing that over the next few weeks probably. But feel free to catch ahead of me. If you do happen to find something, just let me know some way, somehow that this has happened. All right. Also, one little thing. We're now 10 minutes or right a little less than 10 minutes into this video, almost 9 minutes, I guess. I'm going to be doing, in my next video, I'm going to be talking about a way to show community appreciation. So if you watch my next Entropia Universe video, I'm going to be talking about that in that video. So let me know if you got that message and what the message was and where it was so that other people can know that this is something I want to do. And if you like this type of stuff, go ahead and hit that like button if you don't mind. All right. So I've already talked about the fact that they don't control the items, where it drops, who drops it, how often it drops, any of that stuff. All that is determined by MindArc. And that's an important distinction to know. there is a, I'm going to mess up the wording of it. There's a location called Golendor that is being updated. It's an instance. They're going to try and make the items you get in there usable again. Sometimes they know that, you know, you go there and you basically just get shrapnel. They know that. They're trying to fix that. But they're doing some updating and all this type of stuff to get this out there in ways that have not been previously done, shall we say. They've considered, and this is something they're putting a lot of thought in. This was a community question asked of them, asked of the community manager, if they would consider doing the Viceroy perfected. And not only are they going to fix the Viceroy Air 25 problem, and I'll get to the Air 25 in a second, but they've really considered two things about Viceroy. A, to go for a protected version of the Viceroy instead of stopping at modified, and B, making Viceroy tradable. So, super exciting stuff. I'm glad I've considered going Viceroy as it was already. I'm not that far along the road, but you know, I've at least put thought towards that, and maybe someday I'll actually get there. I probably will never get to perfected, as that would be ridiculous with a free-to-play player. It's a lot of money to go down that road. They're trying to find, well, really, MindArc is trying to find solutions for PvP problems and PvE problems. They're looking for solutions to things like jumping in spacecraft to avoid combat, that type of stuff. So if you're doing that type of stuff, you just basically put the word out there to be mindful about that and botting, because they know there's a problem with this from time to time, and that they are proactively trying to fix or find solutions for this. The Smuggler's Warehouse missions are going to be fixed, also Air 25. And Air 25 comes from when they pulled the Iron missions away, and really probably a little bit before that. But it has to do with the interaction with the Iron missions and that type of stuff. So when they get that resolved, which is on MindArc side, because Iron missions are MindArc side, not on Arcadia side, just like Codex is on MindArc side. When they get that resolved, and they were going to be sitting down, which they've already done at this point, at the time of this video, to try and resolve that issue. And they're hoping in the next update for Arcadia that will be resolved, and that'll be an issue of the past, and you'll be able to do your Viceroy in the Smuggler Warehouse and all that type of stuff, all your upgrades. One of the community questions from a Bonnie, I don't know if it is the Bonnie, but it is a Bonnie at least. She was inquiring that as a quest or mission reward, that you'd be able to gain like a rank or access for free travel to the moon. Which, you know, I think that is a really cool thing. I would certainly do that as much as I could, because one of the things that hurts me a lot in my doing missions is the fact I don't have the ability to go to the moon for free. One second. Yes. So, with that, I want to make sure I got all that one done. So, there was a question about making more things profit sharing, adding more land areas, that type of stuff. And one of the things he wanted to talk about in that is whenever you have profit sharing or something that has a sharing model, everything changes that deal with it have to happen slowly. You can't change them quickly. So, and I'll get to this in a minute, but precursor, they have bought back an area that was actually a privately owned land area from before the launch of Arcadia, That's a nice little. I need more of those right there. So that basically they can make a bunch of changes, upgrade that area, and then I think the goal is to go back and sell that area. And I'd be remiss to say that out loud without looking at. Something Cove. Central Cove, maybe? I think is what it was. They're expecting to do updates on that. They've planned updates on that. And they, when they do that, eventually at some point in time, the plan is to sell it back to the community. There's concern on their side about oil rigs. They're not really huge fans of oil rigs. They understand that people like their free stuff, as they said. I won't use their tone because I am a free-to-play player. But they are looking for ways to have interactions with PvP and free stuff and that type of stuff. And they believe those two have to go hand in hand if you're going to have free stuff. But they don't want... they don't really like the model of the oil rig. I think they're looking for maybe their own spin on this. So we'll see what they come out with in the future. So the smuggler or IFN missions are going to be extended. I got the feeling based off of what their statements were was that they were actually going to create BPs for each variant that were specific to that on the higher levels. They were also going to greatly expand the missions you could do on the higher levels, making it a full thing to go down. And then a lot of questions about which way you want to go and that type of stuff, because you probably can't do both. Specifically on their BPs, they're going to be looking at weapons in particular. We talked about the hidden stuff on the plans that no one has found yet. Let me go ahead and throw some heals on me real quick. Talked about the fact it took 5 years to find the smugglers. So I don't understand this, and this is probably because I wasn't playing the game back in the day. But there is something in early game, back when Arcadia probably was first being released, talked about before Arcadia was released, but that this person had been on the Moon Hive and the Underground Hive, and somehow that may be connected or something. I don't know. Probably a smuggler thing. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but it is being developed, and changes are being made so that it's current, or whatever the exact wording was. It's I don't have like word for word notes, if that makes sense. I've already talked about Discord being upgraded. They're going to be upgrading their Arcadia website and the forums so that there is easier communication, more relevant topics, and that type of stuff. They want to bring it back to the old times, back when they would do all these updates before the lawsuit. They say they want to make some changes to the next gold rush and make items from the old gold rush come back or change them so they're relevant. Add purpose. They use purpose on them again. There's a place called a crash ship crash site or something like that. They want to turn that maybe into a PvP area. I believe it's a smuggler area in general. They kept talking about they're not going to drop meteors on people, which I think happened in some other location or different maybe planet partner. They do not want to rework mining, but they want to add purpose to the things they already have in mining. Again, with that purpose again, talking about BPs, talking about making weapons, talking about artifacts. It just, you feel like this. The Talk about the fact that the planet partners can't upgrade things like vehicles. They wish they could. This was in reference to drop ships being able to fly into space or being able to carry people versus cargo. Like you could have different types of upgrades to specialize in an area. So you could have essentially floating disco balls or whatever, or whatever you might want to do, travel across space. And they say they can't do that. That is a Mind Dark side thing. They also talked about the fact that they are going to be mindful when they make updates to try not to kill your machine, but that they cannot be restricted based upon other people's hardware, especially since they're moving towards Unreal 5. They talked a lot about the fact of moving towards Unreal 5 and how that's going to change the basic perception. The president or CEO, whatever exactly he is, said a lot of people hear Unreal 5 and what they first think is that it's just going to walk better. And he says it's actually going to be different. Instead of walking, it might swim or fly or basically whatever. And it might travel through time. You might not fully understand how you're going to be able to perceive this game in the future. Sounds like they're going to let's see. Talked about the origin of Arcadia, the name, how Arcadia with a C is the ancient Greece model or spelling of it, that the K came about when you start to think about heaven, and they joined in a very difficult time to become a planet partner. Like 250, 300 applications were there, and only like 2 or 3 were selected, and Arcadia was one of them. So that was basically, in the nutshell, what we should be able to expect from this dev thing. Like I said, if you want to go watch it, I'm not going to link directly to it because I don't know if that's the only one there, and I don't want to necessarily promote something because I looked at the guy's stuff and he wasn't a YouTuber for Entropia Universe. It just looked like some guy with a variety thing, and he only had about 10, 12 videos out there. So, if you find that one, that's great. If you find another one, that's great. I'm pretty excited about this. This gives me a lot of hope. And they talked a little bit about, sometimes people say all these things and then 2 weeks later they're gone because they're basically grasping at straws. I don't necessarily feel like that's the case in this situation. I'm a pretty good judge of character when it comes to that type of stuff. I feel like it's legit that this is going to be something, and it makes me want not necessarily to invest in Arcadia Deeds because I feel like the Moon Deeds are a little overpriced anyways. But it makes me really reconsider a lot of what I want to do. I certainly want to focus on artifacts probably and get that up, as that very well might be the thing that unlocks a lot of things for me in the crafting area. Just to let you know, I'm at 1364 out of 1400. As you can see, my progress bar there. Pull up my Easter Mayhem. It's going to level up. It's at 95%. I get basically 0.3% off of every kill. And if I kill a warlock, it gives me about 0.5% of at this level. So that's about what I can expect. The big thing is, though, with this 1,400 points, when I get that, it's going to give me a moderate amount of codex experience, essentially. So I'm kind of excited to see what that actually means. If you can look up here right now, I have my Sniper 17. That's the hit for BLP. I'm also ranged laser damage 17. My actual my laser sniper is almost 21. So for those of you who were paying attention from before I came here, what that means really is that I went from almost 19, I was like 18.8, to almost 21 so far and one Mayhem, which is an crazy amount of XP. I've done a lot of missions. I've done a lot of things in addition. There's going to be some super exciting videos coming out. So I'm going to do 3 different Mayhem videos after this one. At minimum, talking about different aspects of Mayhem, so that next year it will be right up to speed for people. And I'm probably going to have a recap when it comes next year, talking about this type of stuff. So look for that too. I've got, like I said, 20 Easter boxes. I'll probably have a little bit more than that, maybe, depending on how long it takes for me to get through this, as a giveaway. This is my 25th output. I have over 70 Mayhem tokens. I did not get any rare Mayhem tokens yet, which makes me a little sad. Not that I necessarily expected it, but it'd be super nice, as they say. But yeah, I've gained a tremendous amount of skill. I'm very thankful I've done this. I have hit my biggest globals ever during this period of time. Hands down. First of all, it takes 50 ped to global, and I never had a 50 ped global prior to this day, prior to starting this. So, and I've had more than one global, but we'll get into that in future videos. Unless I have one right now, and then we'll talk about it right now. But I've also global now in mining, and I've actually done that twice, because while I was here, I did the Cornona hunting tasks, because I wanted to get the pills, which you'll see in my other videos, and in that a couple times I got the mining missions, and when I did the mining missions, I ended up actually globally at Acapulco, wherever it is, the place where you can get oil and Listerium. So, very, very, very cool stuff. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you feel like you got value of this, please hit the like button. Check out my other video talking about my 250 subscriptions. Participate in that contest. Give it a like if you don't mind. Write a comment down below like it says in the video. And I hope you guys have a great day and keep earning that pet. Thank you.